a guy that I've known for a long time. Before we bring him on, just kind of want to tell you a little bit about him. Over 10 million streams as an artist just on Spotify. Named Music Row Magazine's Independent Artist of the Year. I think that was 2019, but I'm not sure. Here's where it goes off the rails. Estimated around 600 million streams just on Spotify as a songwriter. He's got 2 number ones, including Morgan Wallen's first number one, Up Down, and Jameson Rogers' Some Girls. So without further ado, let's bring on my man, Mr. CJ Solar.
What's going on, dog?
What's up, dude?
Dude, just hanging out in my new little music room. Just moved into a new crib and breaking it in with the interview here.
Yeah, man, I love it. It's our first interview from the new crib. It's an honor. I've known you since shoot, man, you were a kid in Baton Rouge. You were at Catholic High whenever I first met you.
Yeah.
And then I was reading that intro, and I'm like, man, now I'm nervous. Now I feel like I'm talking to a big timer here, right?
It is crazy that I every Facebook reminds me like every year of that listening room round we played when I was like a freshman or sophomore in college.
The listening room. Yep.
14, 15. That was like 4 locations ago for the listening room. So pretty cool. That was a fun night with Charlie. So yeah, dude, love that.
Yeah, that was great, man. We all looked a lot younger back then, didn't we?
I don't even have any hair then.
And I did. Oh man. So let's dive in, man. I know you got rehearsal tonight, and I know you got some guys waiting on you. I appreciate you jumping on. We one of the things that we're doing with these Louisiana Country Music Lives, as you know, is we want to give interesting stories, but we also want to give information that maybe people that are up and comers and stuff like that can learn from this. So I'm gonna shoot some questions at you and see what we got, man. Let's start out. You grew up in Baton Rouge, like we said. That area has always had tremendous amount of talent. I know you respect a lot of people from that area, but was there a particular person that played a key role in your musical journey?
Man, my guitar teacher that I took lessons from for a good number of years and played gigs with while I was in high school, Mr. Stan Campbell, who unfortunately passed away a couple years ago, but was just one of the coolest dudes I've ever known, and a massive influence on my musical taste as well as my guitar playing and singing and everything, and definitely really shaped my musical growth as a young person, and dearly miss him. But yeah, man, he was and he introduced me to a lot of really great Baton Rouge musicians that I got to become buddies with and still look up to and a big fan of, like Chris LeBlanc and Kirk Holder and, a bunch of other Baton Rouge musicians who are just insanely talented and play down in the area a lot. And I love all those guys. And yeah, man, there's so much talent down there. But yeah, Stan the man was a huge influence on me.
Yeah, I mean, I remember you even, I think, if I'm not mistaken, you drove to Baton Rouge from Nashville to his funeral.
I did, yeah. And, it was a big loss for Baton Rouge. He was definitely the amount of people that took guitar lessons from Stan in Baton Rouge is a whole lot. But yeah, man, yeah, he was the best. Yeah.
Well, so when you left Baton Rouge, you went to Belmont and you graduated with a songwriting degree. What's that like, man? Do you have to have a songwriting degree to write big hits these days, or is it just what's that do?
Yeah, I don't think you do. I think the amount of people who have degrees in songwriting that have hits are way less than the people who don't. But man, it was a great experience. I had an awesome time. I got to network. I got to intern at some music companies, and I really got to see the back end of the music business before I got into it, which was, very helpful. I got to take classes like copyright law and music publishing and just find out about the business, as well as, I got to take a lyric writing class from Tom Douglas, which was really cool. So I had some amazing experiences while I was there. Do I think it's necessary? Absolutely not. But I'm really blessed that I got to do that, and I had a great time, and it ultimately led me to interning at Seagale, where I signed my first deal.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump to that in just a second, but yeah, I was just kind of kidding with you about do you need it to write hits, but there I do see a lot of value in that Belmont program, and because I mean you are exposed to a lot of things that are going to be coming at you, and if you don't have that experience or that knowledge, you're just figuring it out on the fly, and so to get it in a controlled environment from some of the top people in Nashville that know what they're doing. That's a great program. Let's talk about Seagull a little bit, man. You signed with Seagull, right? If I'm not mistaken, right out of Belmont. What were your emotions like coming out and signing a deal like that?
Well, it was crazy. So I interned there my last semester, and I really only did the internship because I had maxed out, because the songwriting major and the music business minor have so many overlapping classes. I had actually taken all the classes that I could to finish either my major or minor. I had to get 3 hours of internship credit, and I hit up my neighbor who I knew had worked at Universal Publishing, Freeman, and I said, "Hey, dude, I have to intern to graduate. Could I intern for you? Do you know anybody?" I hated even asking. He goes, "Man, I actually just left Universal for this company called Seagale. I bet I could get you in." I was like, "Bro, that would be the biggest lifesaver." So he brings me in, and a week in, the VP of creative, Mike Owens, says, "Hey, man, we always listen to the interns' music just to be nice. If you got a CD with a couple back when CDs were still a thing, can you bring us a CD?" And man, I brought in the only 7 songs that I had that were like demoed back at that time. And he ended up listening to the whole CD, and he was like, "Man, I'm not gonna lie, this is way better than I thought it was gonna be, just from what our interns normally sound like." He's like, "You mind if I show some people around the office?" I was like, "Please." And a week later, they called me in to their offices and were like, "Hey, man, this stuff never happens, but would you want a deal?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, absolutely." So man, I was super blessed between, having the internship, being able to hook up, Mike and Freeman, really giving me that chance. And yeah, man, it was an unbelievable, kind of just getting thrown to the wolves of the professional songwriter world. I had written with like 2 published writers ever before this deal. I had a lot of really talented buddies that I was working with on my way up, that definitely helped shape my writing. But it was a whole nother experience, kind of just 5 days a week getting put in the room with some of Nashville's best songwriters, and getting to create and learn from those people.
Yeah, and I mean you ended up with a lot of friends from over there, and a lot of hits, man, a lot of good tunes. Speaking of a big hit that you had, Up Down, which everybody knows. If you know Morgan Wallen or you know anything about country music, you've heard Up Down a million times. I know you're happy about that. Um, that's right. So take us a little bit, take us in the room whenever you guys were writing Up Down, and just tell us, did you know it was a hit on that day or what?
Man, it's crazy. I started that song with Michael Hardy, who goes by Hardy, and another guy, Brad Clausen. And I was writing a lot with Hardy. It was the first time being with Brad, and we got a verse chorus, and we were thinking, man, this is cool, but we thought it was fun, but country music was transitioning from bro country to like this boyfriend country, die a happy man style songs, and a lot of the A&R people were just telling us that the redneck party songs were out. And me and Hardy kind of leaned in on that redneck party thing. We had a lot of those at that time, and we were just like, man, it's just it's another one of those redneck party songs we got. And I had put a couple of those out, and we knew it was cool, but we actually didn't even have a second verse the day we wrapped. We ran out of time, and Brad just over the next year kept going, "Guys, there's something to the song. I swear we got to finish it." So it took us almost a year to really kind of end up finishing the song. And then Hardy decided he loved it, and he was going to put it on his first artist project, before he had a record deal. and he played it at the Key West Songwriter Festival. And Seth, who managed FGL and now Morgan, heard it and was like, "Hey, Morgan needs another song for his album that feels like a single. Do you guys mind if we take a stab?" And we were like, "Yeah, please." And they ended up making it his first major single after The Way I Talk, but it was the one that they put a lot of steam behind, and ended up taking it to #1. Obviously, FGL being on it really helped at that time, and it was a crazy experience getting to be a part of Morgan Wallen's first #1 song.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. And who would have known that he would be where he is today? I mean, oh my goodness, just
Yeah, dude, it was a crazy ride to be a part of, and yeah, looking back, a wild experience. But yeah, I get videos sent to me. Like the other night, somebody sent me one of him in a stadium the other night, and his opener came out and sang the second verse, and just seeing a stadium just sing that song is like really mind blowing. We actually started that song 10 years ago, so
wow.
we finished it 9 years ago, and it went #1 in 2018, which is kind of crazy that was like 7 years ago. But definitely.
Man, I remember just kind of shifting gears down, going back a little bit. I remember when you got your first hold, and everybody was pumped and all of that. What's that like?
Man, that was really crazy. It's almost hard to remember exactly which song it was. I think it was a Tyler Farr hold, like
I think it was too.
right after I signed my deal. They started pitching some of those initial 7 songs, and I remember Tim McGraw held one of those songs. Tyler Farr held one for a while, and man, it's definitely heartbreaking. I mean, and I was so new, but whenever you hear, it's on hold, you hear they're going into the studio, and they're gonna do like 4 songs today. It's in the short stack, and when it doesn't make it, and it's nerve wracking, and you get different levels of information depending on either how tight you are with the artist or someone in your team is with their team. But yeah, man, I mean, it's usually a letdown because there's so many great songs out there. It's really hard, and they hold a good bit of songs. I mean,
Let me ask you this for the people who may not know. I guess we're assuming a lot of people know what that means. Tell people what getting your first hold mean. What does getting a hold mean?
a hold means that an artist is interested in recording the song, and they ask you to not share it with anybody else until they make a decision on whether they're going to record it. So, I mean, they do it with a handful of songs at a time. I mean, every artist is a little different. It just depends. If they're going in to record 3 songs that day, they might have 6 to 10 that they're holding, and they're just really trying to figure out what they want. But every artist is a little different.
Yeah. So the reason that I wanted to come back to the hold, because we started on top. So to come back to where you started, because I want to talk to you about the roller coaster of emotions as a writer and an artist, and how that balance has evolved for you over the years as you've grown in your career.
Man, it's a delicate balance. I feel like the lines are getting more crossed now than ever. With being able to release your own music whenever, however you want, it's really kind of leveled the playing field. Obviously, marketing the music is still difficult, but if you got a cell phone and you can find a way to cheaply record music, you can get it out there and promote it. So the ability is there for everybody. Writing songs for other people. It's funny. I have a lot of people that hit me up wanting to write songs for other people. And I always tell them, man, you got to know the artist, or you got to know somebody connected, or you got to, and that's why a lot of the times you got to move to Nashville. You got to network with other writers. Part of the reason they call it a 10-year town is a lot of times it takes 10 years for you to move here, meet people, not only become a good enough songwriter to be able to get onto major records, but create the friendships and the connections with the other writers and the artists, and build your way up together to where you're on the next, whoever the next Morgan Wallen is, you met on that Losers, and, had those nights where you guys drank in the parking lot and talked about how, one day our songs are going to be on the radio. Like that's the kind of stuff that a lot of people don't really think about, but it's such a big part of the process. And there's anomalies like Zach Bryan, who just wrote all of his own songs and broke on TikTok and really kind of just is able to carve his own path. And, fortunately with social media, that's a path that really wasn't available in the past. The record labels were more of the gatekeepers back in the day, but it's just there's more avenues, but the same ones still exist, and Nashville is still a hub for the up and coming artists, whether they sign major record deals or break on social media. You're probably going to meet them here. So I just encourage people to move and to network or at least make trips. My buddy Blake Griffith has never moved to Nashville and had a big Tim McGraw cut a few years ago. But and he's done really well. And he's a great friend, and I love working with him. And a lot of big people like Jeffrey Steele and other big hit writers love working with him. But he's really talented. It's not an easy path. So you gotta make the trip.
And he does make that trip a lot. So he's not just trying to not be in Nashville. I mean, I feel like he goes as often as he can. I know he played one of our songwriter rounds, our Mardi Gras songwriter round. So what do you think a writer or an artist has to do to stand out in Nashville and get their songs heard?
Man, I think you just got to bring something different to the table. I mean, obviously you can be really ridiculously good looking. And that obviously helps a lot. There's plenty of artists that helps, but I don't know. I think just having something unique about you, whether it's the look, the sound, the lyrical content, it just any number of factors. I think being great is never out of style. So I think honing your craft, and obviously that I mean I try to plant my flag in the really honing the craft. I write songs most weeks 5 days a week, and I'm always thinking about ideas and how to give songs a cool twist, and talking with my producer Nick Gibbons about how we can make our records sound cooler, and just trying to give the listener a unique experience, whether it's the song or the production.
Yeah, that kind of transitioned into my next question too, kind of moving into a couple more questions for you here. But the music you've put out over the years, I love it, man. I even went back this past week and listened to a bunch of the older stuff. But the one thing consistent from you since even the Belmont days till now, you've got this Southern rock meets modern country sound. How do you think that you kind of found that sound?
Little Leonard Skinner jacket hanging behind me. Man, I grew up listening to a lot of classic rock as well as, country music that was out in the early 2000s when I was a kid and was really first getting to experience country music. My parents loved classic rock, and we all kind of got into country music together during that time period. And we took trips to my parents took me on trips to Nashville to see country music, and we went to the Opry, and people like Keith Urban, Brad Paisley, Blake Shelton, Dirk Bentley. A lot of these people were just big influences of mine, and I love the guitar playing. I love the storytelling. The Southern rock influence was definitely my first love. Was Leonard Skinner, Creedence Clearwater Revival, the Allman Brothers, a lot of that stuff. So I feel like I try to combine all of my favorite influences when I'm, writing songs. I think what your influences naturally come out in your own writing. But I think obviously I'm biased because I think I had some cool influences. But I love that they find their way into my own songs.
Yeah, what I love about it is the playing and the music of those Southern rock songs are so cool. But I still love a good story for the country song. So I kind of like bringing those two together. The way that you do it is really cool. You could hear a lot of it in so many of your songs. This isn't even on my list, but a lot of people may or may not know that you're a killer guitar player too. Who are some of your guitar guys coming up?
Man, well, when I went to that first Grand Ole Opry where Brad Paisley was playing, I'm like, man, you can play guitar and sing while you do country music. So him and Keith Urban obviously are two of the ones kind of leading the charge on that. John Osborne's obviously from the Brothers Osborne's an incredible guitar player, and there's a ton of other ones. My brain's just not working as I'm trying to come up with the names of the other ones, but Marty Stewart's a big influence, being a adjacent state Mississippi guy. Big fan of his. My drummer Nick, who produces me, has gotten to engineer and mixed a couple Marty Stewart records, so I've gotten to meet him through Nick, and just the coolest guy ever, and such an incredible talent. But yeah, man, there's country music has a rich history. Jerry Reed, Chet Atkins. A lot of great guitar players in the genre, and I don't know. It's somewhat like blending. I think Southern rock really is country music storytelling. When you listen to Skinner, half those songs are stories. Yeah. They just had riffs, more riffs involved. And that's just something that I've always just really gelled with. I love guitar, and that's kind of what I feel like I'm trying to keep that alive a little bit with my own stuff. I got songs like Wild Hair where it's very riffy. It's obviously not quite like Skinner, but I don't know, man. I just love all of that stuff, and just seeing what comes out in the writing room, and then seeing what I should give the people.
I love it, dude. I love it. I know you got rehearsal. I'm looking at the clock here. Real quick before I get you out of here, how can fans follow you and keep up with everything CJ Solar related?
Man, I got cjsolar.com. I got obviously all the socials, Facebook, Instagram, where we're streaming. My favorite joke lately has been, you can check me out on OnlyBans. It doesn't exist. Maybe I should make OnlyBans, but it doesn't exist. But yeah, man, YouTube, Spotify, all that stuff, it really helps. I've got a bunch of records out there, and hopefully in the process of I got a couple more singles coming out on the project that I'm in the process of releasing. I put one out a couple weeks ago called 10,000 Lighters. That I'm really stoked. Me and Nick did I think obviously I'm biased, but a really cool job with this latest batch of tunes, and I'm really excited to be kind of trying to figure out what the next batch looks like.
Well, I can't wait to hear it, man. I've already heard a few of them, and I know they're going to be killer, but I can't wait to hear the rest. Y'all go rehearse, man, and I'll see you here soon. Well, I'll be on the road with you soon here in a couple of weeks.
Sounds
Making
good.
a Louisiana run.
I'm stoked for that, dude. We're gonna have a blast.
That's right, man. All right, man. I appreciate you, and I'll see you soon.
All right, talk soon. Thanks, Ryan.
All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed CJ as much as I did. Again, a lot of you guys may or may not know his music, but if you're a fan of Southern rock, especially go check him out. But if you just love good guitar playing, good songwriting, great singing, CJ's just one of those guys that does it all. So hope you enjoyed the show tonight. If so, make sure to tune in every Tuesday night at 7. Make sure to follow, like, share, comment, and help us show the world what Louisiana country music and our artists are all about. This is really for our fans and for our artists. That's why we do what we do. Check out our website for merchandise, LouisianaCountryMusic.com. Thanks for tuning in. God bless our Louisiana folks tuning in, the best fans in country music. Enjoy the rest of your week. We'll see you next Tuesday night on Louisiana Country Music Live.